Welcome everyone to another episode of our good old IT and mostly insecurity news. The usual breaking news stuff people like here. Today we start, because we have as usual so many insecurity news, we better start with some good news. Good news, LLVM, the compiler with the dragon tattoo here, that we ourselves had lots of fun just a couple of minutes or hours ago. Released the 9.0 stable release, just today. And release news, I opened them already. So we had a lot of testing fun here, building not only Linux kernel, test compiling this, but a whole system with Musel and Clang for this alternative C compiler. That there are plenty of videos the last days that you can take a look at. What is new? Quite some stuff. I only scroll over this because otherwise just going over this would probably be nearly a stream. Non-comprehensive list, new extensions, something, whatever, LTO, specialized legacy, whatever, RISC-V, JIT API. One newsworthy, I wondered already that this is not longer the case. They now pattern match. Well, it's a little funny that they call it pattern match. I would thought this is implemented a little bit more advanced than pattern matching. Right, for example here, successive stores, narrowing them, like here portably written big endian writing on any host, and they write here on x86 64, they now optimize this to bswap move, and I slightly wonder that they have not done this before. I thought this was industry standard for a long time already, but whatever. A lot of stuff, including of course ARM assembly level, ARM something, architecture, extension, approval vector, MIPS. Surprisingly some update, and probably mostly for embedded, PowerPC even, and what? That is interesting. MMX SSE, SSE2 in strings. Header has been ported to PowerPC using Altivec. That is cool. So probably you can transparently code for like the built-in strings there for MMX SSE and stuff for x86 and compile it to PowerPC. That is interesting. System set. So probably few people have that at home. Funny that x86 they only have a draft unwind, a little bit short here. Also RISC-V is no longer experimental, and a whole of other stuff. You probably either wanna go through all of them. Welcome in the audience, Sayan. Are we even still live? Looks like that. Anyway, long list, otherwise it becomes too long, but you get the idea, plenty of videos. Also, fun fact, of course, we would not here be with T2 if we are not test compiling this, so this will maybe T2 is the first distribution to commit this in the source repository. I could commit this already, but we are professionals, we only test compile this first, so that's running since a couple of 8 minutes or 10 minutes here since the beginning of the stream. Also, if you are into this kind of stuff, maybe, hey, and this just finished in 10 minutes, slightly delayed. I have a second VM running on this Ryzen, but whatever, if you're interested in this stuff, maybe you stay online, stay live after this live stream, maybe for some more Linux fun. In similar news, we mentioned a couple of months ago the announcement of Edward Snowden's memoirs here, his book, and the government, the US government, apparently announced a lawsuit over this memoir. And of course, have they heard about the Streisand effect, right? Making it more popular, I think, since then, as usual, even with similar books in the 70s, stuff became more popular than by me. Not that it would have been already not popular, but it's also hilarious. Eventually, in my opinion, this is really silly. Instead of focusing on more important stuff, all the important stuff was already whistleblown, so just some life story and this and that. A little bit hilarious in my opinion, but whatever. I wish him all the best and luck though. Also, fun fact, also not I'm in the UK today, but I heard that France is discussing, debating of maybe giving him asylum. I'm also totally ashamed that our German government is not offering him asylum, but so much for the USA having still so much control and leverage all over the place. But as usual, probably some people are triggered, and leave it in the comments below. Starting with the insecurity news. What had not some security update in quite some time? Yes, VMware. You guessed it, all your lovely virtualization hypervisor for security. Oops, did I not click? No. Reloaded, probably for no good reason. And it would not be that noteworthy, except that use virtualization for security, except if your virtualization solution has some security vulnerabilities. Mostly newsworthy because one of them here is BusyBox. This is also ridiculous, right? So 2019 and AAA Fortune, are they Fortune 500? Probably who someone purchased them, right? Dell or EMC, or probably no Dell, I lost overview. Whatever, probably something, Fortune 500 something. And yeah, so the like flagship, so to say, or something, maybe hypervisor insecure due to BusyBox and command injection vulnerability. And this is, and also in 2019, one of the flagship hypervisors, virtual machines, apparently vulnerable from a 2017 CVE from BusyBox that is long published, long fixed, but yeah, not at VMware. Just what all your AAA dollars buy you here in terms of that. Yes, I accept, go away already. What was that? Opened this already some minutes ago. Misconfigured, alright, that is a fun story. Misconfigured Google calendars. Also probably should have closed the unwanted advertising here. Misconfigured Google calendars share events with the world. 2019, you asked for sharing your calendars, you got it. And thousands of Googles, as per usual, they don't really think normal people. They are playing along at home, not considering too much of what settings they place there in their calendar, and then exposing all the calendar details, including often personal stuff, medical appointments and whatever in the calendar. So yeah, exactly why I'm not using the cloud stuff for such kind of stuff too much. Misconfigured Google calendars share the content with others, however making the data public means that anyone with your calendar link can access it. So it sounds a little bit like a lot of people switched it to public to share it with friends and family, and not thinking that everyone who can guess or whatever that links. Yeah. Anyway, you guessed the idea, can access those. In similar insecurity news, Windows Defender only scanning 15 files. Just today, Defender started scanning 15 files only. Quick or full quick scan normally scans 38,000, full 1.50 million. Everything was okay yesterday. Support will call on what? Support will call on what? Yeah, so this apparently is a widespread problem. Found this over another major news site, so I hope that is. I think there are probably other people chiming in or something. Anyway, is it partly fixed with? Yeah, right. So yeah, it's already partially fixed or something. So apparently it was 2019. Microsoft messes up their Windows Defender, which, fun fact, is the only antivirus I sort of recommend. My usual scheme here. Antivirus is snake oil, usually only wider, larger attack surface, larger trusted code base there, and all this sloppily programmed stuff more vulnerable to malware authors than not. And then I usually say, if of course a little bit security can't hurt, well, a little bit open attack surface, well, but I would trust, although I don't trust Microsoft too much, but at least I would trust their scanning stuff at least to be somewhat sanely programmed and not to have too many security vulnerabilities, except if, yeah. But Windows Update also for me anyway, every time I switch on some Windows thing, which of course I run Linux, but even my Linux virtual machines with QEMU sometimes not updating reliably because Windows, maybe I should also start them more often than once a month. But yeah, that's what you get from sometimes starting Windows. And where would be my, there, that is the billing. And we usually trigger someone who then say, yeah, Windows is not too bad, but honestly, these are recurring things. Also, we had this already in every second IT weekly insecurity news that Windows Update breaks something, Excel macros or whatever, something of any sort. So it's not like we make this up, except that I don't use it professionally anyway. I only hear about this mostly from the news, except my own Windows Update not loading reliably. In similar news, of course, in security, because 2019, researchers uncover 125 vulnerabilities across 13 routers and NAS devices. So this is a news story. I think I checked. I had a similar news story already a month ago, where something similar was found in all those unpatched, cheapest NAS and access point stuff. And in a study of network-attached storage systems and routers, independent security evaluators found 125 vulnerabilities in 13 IoT devices, reaffirming an industry-wide problem of lack of basic security diligence. The vulnerabilities discovered in Soho perilously broken 2.0 research likely affects millions of IT devices. Recurring sim here, not the first thing. This is why I want to spread awareness. And this is also people just buy the cheapest crap, right? Although, to be fair, for most vendors, even if you buy expensive stuff, I'm really still thinking, should I really so much would like, which I tried a decade ago, talk with vendors and have them trust a T2 embedded base that's like really supplied with updates in a reliable fashion. Today we could do this IoT access points, so network gear and routers. But the problem is I faced this already a decade ago trying to do embedded stuff with Exa code, what we found at the company for mostly, and the vendors are not interested. I talked with so many people, told so many stories. Probably if you want to hear more of those stories, quite some details to share, but the vendors are not interested, right? They're doing this in Taiwan or China, and they are simply not interested to pay any cent to other external companies. They rather frickle their own stuff there in the garage or basement together, so often with people who barely can operate the stuff, right? It's not like the greatest computer scientists do this. They're just some hobbyist around the corner in China or Taiwan or something. And this is why if you look into some things, the stuff is really gross oftentimes. You probably have realized yourself, you buy a cheap access point and the web configuration is total crap, or a network attached storage system. And this really needs to stop. I have seen in 20 years, I've seen so much crap, I can really not unsee this anymore. And I would really appreciate if more of you in the audience maybe spread the word, and probably many of you already do, telling your friends and family don't buy this cheap stuff there. The only problem I understand, it's hard to recommend something because even links is and what is our usual broken stuff here of what I don't use because it's so broken anyway, the usual network gear. And so it's hard to recommend something. You see with all this Linux open source stuff here on this channel, I'm getting a little bit tired of broken stuff. Well, also macOS peak bugs, right? All this stuff so complex, well, except the network stuff, IoT stuff is not complex, not that complex, just crappily done. But macOS and Windows certainly so complex that even at macOS side, more peak bugs than no bugs. And I really would like to go back to this, whether T2 embedded Linux or microkernel certainly in the long term preferable, but even in the short term, really work with vendors. So if you are a vendor, though probably not too many watching this, but how can we work together? I have no idea. I've provided T2 free of charge with updates every day, and it's not like NAS vendors start using this. They're not even using Open Embedded. I've seen so much crap. I just recently bought something I probably can make a stream about. I have no idea how we should fix this except not buying this cheap stuff, and then the problem is you can't buy anything. But really sad. We have this here. Somewhere was some recommendations. IoT vendors have increasing their presence, security community, without substantial increasing. what is here? Purchasing devices, consider how the manufacturer has been handled. Patches, yeah, the problem is even, was it Cisco that I lost the name earlier? Even if you buy expensive stuff from Cisco, we had so many security vulnerabilities the last decade. Prepare and release firmware upgrades that addresses the issue and other known vulnerabilities. Yeah, unfortunately they don't. Should rely on something. Also, they wrote here somewhere. They found that many of those issues were trivial to exploit and should have been discovered even in a rudimentary vulnerability assessment, says ISE founder Stephen Bono. This indicates that these manufacturers likely undergo no such assessment whatsoever, that the bug bounty programs that they employ are ineffective, the vulnerabilities disclosed sent to them are not addressed, or most likely all of them above. And not with my trusty Sun keyboard today, so I need to scroll slightly to the face palm here, but yeah, leave me in the comments below what's your take on this. Let's see, Windows is not too bad as long as you don't run it. Yeah, exactly. And don't deploy the updates, which usually break more than they fix. Evening, and Christian is an expert when it comes to creating bugs. Yes, welcome to the club. I'm an expert in uncovering each and everything not working on Apple devices. I spent the last hours here on, of course, not primary but secondary. I tried to reinstall Catalina Beta 7 times. In the meantime, I have not successfully installed it once. And probably macOS today runs better on a Hackintosh than on genuine Apple hardware. I can't make this up. You should create a video about Stallman. Probably I don't want to get into this stuff that is too political. We only get here in more amazing political stuff. And that being said, Friday for Future, right, is tomorrow. So if you want to join that track to save the planet, it's very popular now. Yeah, but I don't want that all the people already unsubscribe enough when I live stream Linux, which we probably could continue doing in a couple of minutes. I don't want that they unsubscribe about some bought another unsuccessful one-man distributions guy, so they whatever. So no thanks. The Me Too people can do their Me Too channel. So that's why you should buy from reputable brands like AVM. Yeah, AVM maybe one of the better ones. They are also located in Berlin as far as I remember from this brand, but it's not like they ever reached out to us though. So I don't even have any contact there. So maybe I should say hello, but whatever. Now they have their own stuff. But maybe what would be cool, because I tried a decade ago to do this, to do embedded Linux and bring it to the vendors. And I've been in Taiwan, so mostly for the scanner vendor. But even the scanner vendors that we work closely with, I told them already 10 years ago, if you have more advanced firmware, you can put our Linux in there. And all those scanners now become network aware and stuff. Do you think any of those scanner vendors, which we work together in some ways, and for Mac software and drivers and stuff, a little bit here and there, not once have they came back? I told them usually 100 times over the course of over 2000, soon 15 years. And they just don't want. They think they spent $1, and each dollar spent is something they don't want to spend. In similar news, millions of patient data of whatever here, X-ray or MRI or whatsoever. A fun fact, there is this story, I shared this a year ago when this channel was slightly smaller. Due to my Spark stuff, someone connected me from Croatia and wanted me to come. They probably thought I'm an unsuccessful student and they can fly me in for nearly for free. And because they wanted me to install an X-ray machine, I think it was X-ray machine based, maybe it was Siemens. They purchased used in Germany, like University Munich or something, brought it to Croatia, then couldn't get it installed. And then they contacted me over Instagram of all means. Really funny business methods. And after I told them tried nicely with them that I can't come for free and would charge some money and this and that. They never contacted me. I don't really quite understand what's wrong with people, but that X-ray machine was using a Sun Ultra 30, I think, Sun Ultra 10 or something of that sort. So something similar, so they stumbled over my machines. But so what this apparently was doing is loading all the stuff to a web server, and this web server, as so often, if you knew the URL, you could just access all the images or something of that sort. And so this is not, so although this is General Electrics, I think, or something of that sort. General, what is the vendor here? Wherever. So this apparently, so this affects international people, including people in Germany, apparently mostly in South Germany, Bavaria, and Baden-Württemberg or something of that sort. 60 million records and also 50 countries, including from Brazil to Turkey, India, 60 million data sets. So yeah, 2019, and you find your medical data. By the way, now that I share this, I just remember there was another user. Didn't say so. I really lose the passion here. That is also why I came more back to Linux and try to build a YouTube audience, because sitting there and trying to do IT professional stuff with companies, you see so much crap that you really wonder, what is the purpose of all of this? Everything is insecure, broken. They just clobbered together some ad hoc solution that is insecure and whatnot. Some country data breach was this, what was it, something with E, was Ecuador or something. One day ago, Ecuador investigates data breach, so actually forget about this. I was too busy this week, I forgot to, what already subscriber keep, paywalls. Nearly everyone in Ecuador is victim of a data breach. Yeah, welcome 2019. And this is why I'm not even that sure about the Linux situation anymore, right? Because the old-fashioned C code base, still stuff, I don't know, I don't, with all the research of the last decades, I can't agree anymore that saying that this C code base, all-in-one address base, monolithic stuff is what we should be running. Because honestly, if you have the latest and greatest Linux stuff, even commercially supported Red Hat stuff or whatever, you could not even be sure that this wouldn't happen to you, right? With all the security vulnerabilities we find each day. So, including the president and WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange. Yeah, so you get the idea, fun stuff nowadays. Oh, wait a second. I had this even so much too. I forgot about. Okay, I had this even here, Ecuador, so much to that. Summary, what else do we have? Yeah, I showed this Instagram stuff there in the camera some couple of 6 months ago. How much would be Siemens Röntgen used? I'd like to have one. I'm not really sure if you want to have one. I have no idea how much it is. I didn't ask. But yeah, apparently you can get this used. So he's shared photos with Instagram, and it looked pretty decent. So it looked pretty. It didn't look like abandoned old crap. Looked okay. So Christian writes, we have live in the age where frameworks and copy pasters, unfortunately. Yeah, that is also the problem. And this is there are such initiatives, right? What then there are models who this glossy code something you watch some video of Casey Neistat, and then you see there's this code with glossy, and then some models run some code camp and totally applaud this this initiative and stuff. But from what I've seen, this is mostly using some frameworks yeah, although I mean maybe it's a good thing, but yeah, people who do open source, who do KVM, do not have a recurring basic income, and people in the YouTube space make good money with Hackintosh VM tutorials and models run code camps and all the base code infrastructure open source people can write drivers and compilers mostly for free if they don't work on a new university or Linux distribution. And it's also somehow not industry 4.0 or web 3.0 or whatever if you only can make a living if you work in a big company, and then we don't need to have this open source move, and then I can also get a regular job at Microsoft. Either open source can finance a living of people, or I can just work at Bosch, Siemens, Microsoft, Apple, you name it. Steam, also breaking news, brand new just from today. Steam, apparently Valve is convicted in France for banning the resale of dematerialized games. In French translation, the comments. So I have not fact-checked that. Don't speak too much French, although bonsoir. But yeah, probably that is a good thing. I would say, because if you purchased a DVD previously, you could also sell it later on eBay or Blu-ray or whatever for that matter. And the big move for this, what I predict probably, is that more of those vendors, so this could also affect movies and stuff, right? So like digital downloads on iTunes, and maybe even if this ruling is upheld and is spreading through higher courts or something through the whole EU, maybe in the short term even Steam might leave France, I don't know. But in the long term, that could affect whole Europe, which again is certainly, in my opinion, good for the customer. Even as a software vendor, I have nothing against this, even for my exact scan. And fun fact, I know that some people resold the exact scan. For example, they didn't have use with their scanners and sold their scanner with exact scan. And people even wrote us and asked, hey, I brought this used here on eBay, and how do I install it? And of course, we helped them and everything. Why not? It's a valid license. And it's also a long-term new user. Maybe in 2 years he pays for the next upgrade. And why should this matter, right? They paid for the license that someone would use if they pass it on for another user. Why not? I don't have a problem with that. Anyway, maybe we have comments in the audience to that, but maybe not yet. Anyway, as usual, leave in the comments below what you think about this. Probably also should talk faster that way. So maybe this makes live our distribution, the first distribution having sealing LLVM. Not really sure if this works with Mesa so. At least for sealing it didn't compile, but this could be another XML issue whatsoever. If you're interested, we could continue live streaming a second live stream, building the next probably x86 release of T2 for that matter. Anyway, in similar news, because science is amazing, a lot of genetic papers contain errors thanks to Microsoft Excel. Welcome to 2019, or probably the last decade already, where genetic paper science is done in Excel. Like, seriously, what the heck, which memo have you missed? It is said, it's also a recurring theme, right? It's not the first time that something like that happens. And how did this happen? So this particular thing happened due to date formatting. So they had their gene stuff like sept2. For example, one gene called septin2, commonly shortened to sept2, but is changed to 2-sept and stored as a date 2 September 2016 in Excel. The research who published the analytics in genome biology say the issue can be fixed by formatting columns as text and renaming remaining vigilant or switching to Google Sheets, where gene names are stored exactly as they are entered. Not really sure why this needs to be a Google spreadsheet advertisement here. I don't quite think that. I wouldn't trust that Google Spreads is not immune to this issue, except maybe unless it's not, which by the way also pissed me off, right? When I sometimes use, although I never use Excel. I think the last time I would have said the last time I used Excel probably was in 1995, before I switched to Linux, which probably was some Excel 4 or something of that sort in either Windows 3.11 or 95. But I maybe that could be wrong. Maybe I used it when I was a trainee as a technical draftsperson with AutoCAD stuff. So maybe that makes that 1998. But what pisses me really off, and I used OpenOffice here or nowadays LibreOffice, and what usually pisses me off is this stupid automated format recognition bullshit. I enter something like this gene stuff, right? I make a spreadsheet of exact scan sales or whatever, want to analyze some, what influence has some advertising, get some pretty graphs or something. I enter this something and this bloody auto-formats some bullshit similar to that, and I need to enter it again, click on no text exactly like this issue, or other stuff like this stupid American dot versus European comma and other fun sort of formatting glitches. That is usually, in my opinion, also a little bit, why is this not yet more amazingly solved? I don't know. So much to artificial intelligence in 2019, where probably you need to inject artificial intelligence to your spreadsheet for format recognition. In similar, more amazing paywalled news, I got this over another news, but this was the primary news, and as usual on my other virtual machine this loaded, but now here that doesn't load because whatever, probably streaming here, so this browser accessed this bloody Financial Times a couple of times. But the summary of the story is BMW signals the end of the road for its i3 electric car, which I find really, by the way, there was probably I saw it on high, so let's give them a little bit shout out for that. Usually I try to, here is a German stuff that I just opened this for the picture. And I say this, so first of all, this, in my opinion, this was, although it is a little bit of a luxury car, it's a little bit expensive, which is also why I've not yet purchased it. I was considering it, so especially now it's a total steal on the used market. You get it for 2 years used with not too many miles, or actually we say kilometers. So if you're on imperial units for that sort, but so total steal on the used market. And I was mostly waiting for the company car maybe to switch our oil burning Mini Countryman that's getting 7 years old, because we are cheapskates and drive the stuff until it falls apart or something of that sort. And I was considering it. I waited for the larger battery because initially it had only 200 kilometer range. Now the larger battery, I think, whatever, 86 kilowatt hours or whatever, something of that sort, only since the end of last year or something. So not even 1 year on the larger battery. And they don't want to sell it to me. I mentioned this already. I was 3 times at BMW. I, by the way, drove this car sometimes in car sharing when I take car sharing to airports and stuff. And I drove it a couple of times. I like it quite a lot, especially so this is quite environmentally in some ways, that it's using recycled plastic parts and bamboo and what stuff there for the dashboard. That is pretty cool. And they just don't want to sell it to me. I was 3 times at BMW, especially our Mini needed service, still, especially when it was still in warranty. I went there. Now I will probably do the oil change myself, but whatever. And I was there 3 times, not once. Not once did they came back to me and to sell it, or even an appointment because I wanted to, because now they have a more sporty version. And the i3S or something, that I have not driven in car sharing, and I actually wanted to make an experiment, maybe even for YouTube, if I could with total hypermiling can stretch the range and achieve more, because it would be amazing if from Berlin I could drive to Hanover, which is around 300 kilometers, which is, I would actually, my electric car, my first electric car, be able to drive at least from Berlin to Hanover. It's, in my opinion, not too much to ask. Also, there you see the fail of those companies. Is it so difficult to build an electric car that you can drive from Berlin to Hanover? It's somehow not the largest distance. Anyway, each time I talked with those, they have their one specific, so it's not like everyone at BMW sells you this electric cars. You have their one electric car genius. And this genius, each time I talked with him, he talked me out of this. No, don't buy it, it's shit, it's charging is shit, you can't charge it in Berlin, you can't charge it at home, you can't, charging is expensive, and so on. So why is this product genius, electric car genius at BMW, each time I want to buy this car, well, sort of, anyway, probably anyway, I would not buy it new anyway, I would buy it on the used market for half the price. But they don't want to sell it to me. Not once have they called back, not once have they only write us, come with your many countrymen to the oil change service and bloody stuff like this, but they don't want to sell us an electric car. Well, certainly if I would have went there and said, here's the money and I take the car, they certainly would have given it to me. But I first wanted to test drive the i3S version, and yeah, somehow they didn't want to sell it to me. Maybe I should have called more than 3 times and went there more often, but this is a recurring theme, right? That this is not, I have multiple additional experiences, and other people told me the same, by the way. Besides, they also don't give you discount. Usually if you buy a slightly phasing out model at most companies, which by the way I wouldn't recommend buying a new car because it's total waste of money, at least in Europe, in most states, or probably most states in the world. And for most cars, unless you buy a luxury car where you might only get 3% discount, for most normal models, if they are not like just announced but at least a couple of months on the market, you usually get over 5, if not up to 10% discount. And that is also what we got for our Mini Countryman, by the way, full disclosure. So for the i3, they give you 0 discount. They tell you they make no profit and they can't give a discount, which fair enough, whatever. I would buy it used with, like, you can get this used for 7,000 kilometers for half the price, 2 years old, total steal in my opinion. But I want to say is they don't want to sell it, and it's a systematic problem of the car industry that they still today want to sell you their internal combustion engine, their ICE cars, and still haven't heard the latest news of I don't know, development. And this is really sad. Although I understand many people hate this car and they think, by the way, why do they not have a more nice image here of the front? In my opinion, it looks like a little bit Star Trek space shuttle, although many people hate it, but I think it looks pretty good. I don't know, I don't quite understand why some people don't like it, but whatever. And maybe I still get one used for half of the price because we are cheapskates. And although the range is a little bit near, it's anyway. Tesla in Germany, what's the issue with that? Teslas I don't like so much. We have Teslas, but they are of course totally overpriced and expensive, and they have a lot of quality issues. Just open YouTube, and panel gaps, not even the paint is consistent. I also don't like the use of displays. I don't think the usability of a touch display where you can't like switch, where you know the button is and you start the aircon or the heater or anything else, and similar things of this sort. And yeah, that's why. But also the Tesla is of course has a larger range to some degree, but the i3, if you drive long distance, the i3 is also not too bad. They have it with a range extender, which, yes, it is a small, I don't know, 2-cylinder or something, 2 or 3 cylinder motorcycle engine with a generator, and yes, it's not ideal, but for my case, even if I would just drive from Berlin to Hanover to my parents or to a customer, at least I could do so without 20 minutes charging at a highway station. Yes, so somehow the whole situation is not amazing. What I do is just travel less and do stuff remote. That is what we have the internet for. Yeah, a fun fact, Detard writes, they want to sell me the i3, yes, the i8. Fun fact, yes, seeing all the car YouTubers, I thought that would also have been a fun video. I also wanted to test drive an i8, but they also didn't call me back to test drive the i8. You would think manager direction of an IT company in Berlin coming there wanting to buy an i8 would be enough. No, they also never. That was actually on the 3rd time I said, you know what, in the meantime, I can also afford an i8. Maybe let's also test drive this. They also didn't come back to me with that. Although honestly, I would also not buy the i8 new, which maybe I would not buy the i8 at all. But if we would have too much money from our increasingly successful YouTube channel at $3 a day, I would also buy it used, because even the i8 with somehow the recurring theme of the electric or hybrid cars totally devaluating there in value, and you get an i8 also for half the money. That is probably 60,000 something euro, which yeah, is so I could get a nearly unused, totally amazing i8, yeah, used, but cheaper than Tesla probably, at least, well, some not Model 3, but Model S or whatsoever. Also, by the way, until the Model 3 recently, I also didn't like the, I mean, the Teslas is of course luxury lifestyle on steroids. If you want to save the planet, such supersized Model X certainly not what we should be driving, and the i3 is more compact. Maybe even the whole eco balance is more positive on the i3, using recycled plastics and whatever there for the body and stuff. But yeah, I only wanted to include this, that it said that, in my opinion, one of the, well, I wish it would have longer range. I also like smaller cars. It is certainly smaller, I would at least think so, than Model S and Model X. Certainly it should be quite some. Anyway, also lightweight materials. I think this car is amazing, just if the range would be larger, of course, the regular list price. But yeah, it's premium BMW, whatever, you can get cheap used ones. But systematically, yeah, but probably the people are also at fault wanting the biggest, largest SUV, and then you get a Model S, Model X, yeah, whatever. In similar news, article here from someone I know from Gen2 Times, Hanno Böck here. What I just said, I said this already a couple of times, not a fan of cryptocurrency because of the waste in the meantime. All the cryptocurrency mining consumes as much energy as small companies like Switzerland or Iceland or I don't know, whatever was in the news previously. And just that I'm not the only stupid idiot reiteratively telling this to you, but other famous security Gen2 people here tell you the same story, that basically it's heating up the climate crisis with just burning so many electrons. Well, yes, they are recycled in your electricity loop, but anyway, using so much electricity for like basically next to nothing, just speculating. It's not like people use Bitcoin for regular food purchases, except maybe weapons and drugs, and otherwise speculation. Which is why I didn't crypto mine and don't support this and think this is really stupid. And yeah, maybe this is another million that I didn't earn with crypto mining. When I remember 2005, 6, whatever, when Bitcoin was new, maybe, probably, well, not maybe, certainly if I would have done this stupid crypto mining, I probably would have been millionaire. Another lost opportunity. But on the other side, I can sit here and say, I've done this for the climate. This is a really stupid idea. Wasting so much, and this is only increasing, right? To me, leave me in the comments below what you think. In my opinion, cryptocurrencies have totally no future, because this is only getting, if we would really use this Bitcoins for real transactions, it would only exponentially increase the energy consumption for all the transaction being computed. So yeah, you can read this, it's German though, but yeah, here is even Denmark and New Zealand in the meantime, so probably in the meantime more electricity. So yeah, I said Iceland and Switzerland in the meantime, apparently it reached levels of Denmark and New Zealand. You get the idea. You can read this with Google Translate or Google this in English somewhere. And in more bad news, getting increasingly frustrated here with Earth warming more quickly than thought. New climate models show. Recurring reminder that tomorrow is Friday for Future. And yeah, not cool. By 2100, average temperatures could rise 7 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, and if carbon dioxide emissions continue unabated. By the way, sometimes the track point gets stuck. I still wonder why this sometimes happen. No idea though. Probably not the best advertisements for track point. But what else do we have here? So we are close to getting funding, so feels like making some money on open source, maybe. Oh, okay. Yes. By the way, you probably have noticed I'm not in the office right now. You need to get an email. Family life complicates planning this schedule there with you, but certainly. But we have 2 windows of opportunities. Just that traveling family with me can't choose this here totally alone. We live in natural frameworks. We had this detailed with this I8, which by the way, this by the way, fun fact, I made, full disclosure, I made 2 Porsche videos as German, always like driving Porsche, eventually Porsche 911T and Macan. Mostly seeing all this, but there you see how this works, right? Even an environmentalist like myself, seeing so many YouTubers having fun with their supercars, said, yeah, why not try the same? I did this with 2 cars. I figured, no, I can't really do this to the world. It makes no sense. Even promoting this car, this is why also, yeah, test drove the Mini Countryman Hybrid. And so, yeah, I was considering that the dark side had me there for 2 videos, but for the most part I cannot contribute to this, so this is why another missed opportunity, so I can't, not contributing to this global warming, I can't fall for the dark side of YouTube and becoming a car celebrity YouTuber. So yeah, another opportunity missed. But maybe then more hacking, which anyway is more fun. And yeah. So what else have I missed? Age of frameworks. Scrolled up again, so something serious. Yeah, dropping your email, stopping by soon, maybe in some weeks or next month. Sue by Tesla just to support Elon if he has what? Sure, he'd buy Tesla. No, I'm. Also, yeah, we could make a video about Elon Musk, in my opinion. Of course, he had mostly luck, right? Most of the stuff he has not founded. Tesla he has not started, not sure if he has even started SpaceX. And also PayPal he purchased, I think, or was his other, I think he had another company. Anyway, most of the stuff he didn't start it, and most of the money he probably made with PayPal, which probably he purchased. And yeah, it's just probably he was even from a more wealthy family, maybe as far as I remember, maybe. But if you or me, other people would have made the first 100 millions with some PayPal stuff, and of course he was more in the golden age of Web 2 or of Web 1. The .net or .com bubble that bursted there. And if you have your first 100 million, then life is certainly much easier, unless you're a total idiot and spend it on drugs and supercars and stuff. So it's and some of this stuff is also not the most successful, right? I mean, if you read financial reports, Tesla is also on the verge of bankruptcy, and a lot of the stuff, the solar roof stuff, is partially failing, I heard. And the Teslas, yeah, also, I mean, these Teslas, you see from what Teslas, it's not like the green company to save the planet, right? First they made the Roadster, which, fun fact, I would maybe consider buying used just for the fun of it, but I saw it also has some aluminum corrosion, something problems of aluminum steel parts, electrolysis, something, whatever. And then of course the battery age. But then they made what did they make next? The S, I guess, right? Model S. Probably a super-sized luxury limousine stuff of a size that I would never buy. Then the Model X, which is a super-sized SUV shit, which SUVs I hate with a passion. The Mini Countryman is basically more or less the largest thing I would buy, which I also have chosen because it's smaller, 4.12 m long, that you can still usually find parking spaces in most cities. And Then the Model 3 is the first reasonable car from Tesla, in my opinion, and also everything luxury pricing, right? And plus, the new Roadster is of course also obscene, especially there you see first of all, it's an obscene supercar, the new Roadster, and it's not like a car for the masses. Maybe the Volkswagen ID.3 or what this is there is more the electric car for the masses, so which I intentionally don't give a shout out here for all the environmental Dieselgate cheating Volkswagen has done. But so the ID.3 of Volkswagen may be more suitable, or other small startups like the Ego or whatever that was in Germany, a totally small supersized, just I find the Ego, the 16,000 or so euro Ego from university startup more amazing and more affordable and more of the car for the family masses than any Tesla so far. And the Roadster is rumored to have an option with rockets to slide around corners. Like seriously, what the heck? There is really a limit of millionaire supercar stupidity, and then you can't. With mostly obscene cars and supersized SUVs cars, you can't pretend to be a life-changing green company. Charging network in Germany is not amazing, being run by mostly internal combustion engine cars there. You could probably do away with it, but it's not amazing. And a fun fact, in the small village where I grew up, where my parents still live, next to Hanover, there is a supercharging station, which would not be the worst thing. But also in Berlin, the only supercharging station of Tesla I know in Berlin is outside of Berlin, towards the airport. If you go to the airport, not too inconvenient, but if you live inside Berlin, a little bit inconvenient, although the superchargers of course not meant to regular charge. Yeah, charging not amazing. Also, even the private charging infrastructure in Berlin not amazing, because so usually you don't have a garage, and even if you have a garage, then you usually don't have a charging station, right? And if you have a garage, you usually rent one, and you can't then force your tenant to install a supercharging something outlet there, wall box there for your fancy electric car. So charging situations, there are in Berlin on the walkway charging stations, so every other corner, for pay obviously with a subscription of your local electricity provider, but it's of course not the most convenient to have this specially parked there and drive away again, and whatever. So let's see, things deterred, much energy, regular banking sector. By the way, what do I even show here? Oh yeah, maybe we can show this while we go through how much energy the regular banking sector is using, including heating the office, all the people working here. That is a thing which is, I run our company mostly cheapskatish, and I also agree, that is probably a topic for another video, otherwise it becomes too long. Probably best to spread the topics, but in part I'm a fan of having people work at home, because then they can be comfortable and even, I don't know, put the clothes in the washing machine and while they work or something, I don't know. It also saves on commuting and not heating the office. I also I'm a cheapskate. Why should I heat an office or have an oversized office for potentially people sitting there? The only thing is that, in my opinion, but correct me if I'm wrong, what is as usual, your comments below there, to run a really good, efficient team, you probably should at least meet sometimes, probably if a core team, maybe not everyone, maybe you can have a marketing person in India or Russia or China or Taiwan or United States or Brazil or something, or maybe even a developer or two, but maybe, in my opinion, the core team should probably sometimes meet in person. And I have the impression meeting in a really good office, not in a loud cubicle office, but some more European non-cubicle office can lead to higher productivity than at home, when people get disturbed with their family stuff or other stuff that is a little bit there. It's really hard to classify or point to one being the much better than the other, but maybe a mix of everything is good. But in any case, maybe at least partially, I don't know, but leave in the comments below what are your best concepts there for that. But in any case, commuting less, heating offices less, yes, for sure. But the thing is, however, the whole banking sector is doing more, right? Bitcoin is doing not much, only speculation, if not used for shady business. Regular banks, of course, also used for credit applications, for all the other stuff that banks do, maybe insurance or opening an account, all the old-fashioned stuff that people still sometimes go to the bank, I guess. So what else? Trust me, don't want a global network. What did I miss? Earning, do, and actually work. Actually, YouTube skipped here over quite some messages. Will I think how much energy? So we had this. If you earned it by doing actual work or brought it, would mine need some sort of currency that is not driven by the agency, but the mining bullshit is just shitty if you ask me. Oh, shite, yeah. Welcome there, Glaucus. So, actually, he started a company called X, which became PayPal. Yeah, was it X or XXX? But I think they purchased PayPal, wasn't it? I think either they, whatever, something here. What else did we? Tesla failing is more of a financial magic than reality. I think Tesla failing is more of a financial magic. No, I think they just burn all the money. I think they just, I think they are like on the verge of bankruptcy just because they ramp up all, but also maybe they have overdone it. Maybe the company would be more healthy, growing slightly slower. But given also, if you on YouTube or ask people how many quality issues Teslas have, it's not surprising for me. That also, if you don't manufacture this right, if you, for example, I've seen so many people, panel gaps, this pseudo aluminum stripes there, and other stuff broken, including the color imperfections there. Like holes and bubbles and whatnot, where no normal car company would deliver a car with imperfect color, right? So guess how much money this is burning, redoing all the paint of all the imperfect warranty cases there. And what do we have now? Actually, so Tesla's just want to have global net and Mars colony. I just want to have global net. And do you really want every single device on one giant network, things connecting and doing whatever without you knowing about this? Yeah, we have this already to some, no control, no counting. Nope, I want my fiber optic like right now, but it's also a global backup and a mesh network. Why global backup? Global mesh networks, good idea in theory, always. Shit in practice. You actually, Detour, you said you do Wi-Fi, right? I don't have Wi-Fi needs right now of this shitty network that is still shitty there in this other location, but which isn't mine, because if I would have done it, it would probably work. But what is your opinion? So you saying, so if you would have some complex, some living complex or hotel complex, I always wondered, I never tested this, but so my intuition was if you have a mesh network, like basically you have a medium-sized apartment complex or hotel, you install there 50 or so mesh access points, it's probably becoming bullshit, right? At least that was what I would intuitively, I would not think that like distributing 50 access points all over an apartment or a hotel complex would result in a working network. But yeah, if you have mesh stuff, because one person wanted to sell at this other location some mesh bullshit. But yeah, what is there now is also shit, but whatever. Yeah, so global, so Bitcoin isn't doing much right now because it's not allowed too. Well, it is allowed, but most people, you could, even a decade ago, you could buy pizza or pay your hotel already. There were even Bitcoin machines, but I think it's mostly not used because people just use it as savings and speculation. So people could use it, just that even online shops sometimes stopped accepting it. There were online shops where you could buy even a PC in Bitcoin, but I heard already years ago they stopped using it because the transaction fees became so high, plus the volatility of the currency. So while you ordered your PC and they got the Bitcoin, it could have been already gone up and down so much that, plus the transaction fees. So my understanding is you could use it, or in some years ago you could use it even more, just that due to all the transaction fees and volatility, it is not as used for normal stuff by users intentionally for speculation and savings, is my impression. Without taxes system would collapse, said but true. Yes, it's something for another story. This kind of story, right? Just triggering people. Probably should have today with this lovely shirt. Fun fact, this is fun how this stuff works, right? This is a total old shirt, by the way. I'm such a cheapskate. Bought it in New York the last time I was there 7 years ago. Cheap H&M. $9.99 shirt, survived 7 years. Friday for Future, just use your shirt 7 years, and live on YouTube. Yeah, taxes are some topic for another video, which we could also do. By the way, 16 people, if all of those amazing 16 people watching right now, if you're interested in Linux live stuff, we are through with the comments. We could continue live stream. Today we could build something less failing, so C-Lang stuff updated, which by the way, yeah, but it is today we would not build C-Lang LLVM. Today we would build a regular build that should mostly work and chat stuff like politics and what you want in a hotel is very small cells, low power. Yeah, this is what I recommended. So actually I recommended like 50 normal access points and low power. So they have done the total opposite. They have done now 1 meter antennas with high power, where the cell phones again from the apartments don't. The 1 meter antennas with whatever amplification reach the user devices pretty well, but the user devices don't reach back to this 1 meter antennas very well. But who listens to me? That is why we don't know, unsuccessful. Very small cells with low power, and if you have mesh max 2 hops, yeah, I guess that. What else did we miss without taxes? Yeah, taxes are the story. Otherwise the UK people feel triggered again. Economy is zero-sum game. For someone to win, someone has to lose. Police, firemen, schools, public roads, etc. Who should pay for that if no taxes here? Totally agree with that. Could have a special. No, I switched the camera. That my head is probably also, it's not aligned anymore. Anyway, fun stuff today. Exactly that. However, I agree that most politicians are total dumb idiots, not only in the UK or US, but also in Germany and most other places in the world, like Brazil, Russia, Turkey, or soon I can't travel anywhere. You travel in some country, you need to get your social media account, and if I give mine, then nobody lets me in anymore. But very few countries, although I think wasn't the comedy party in Iceland or something who was quite successful or something of that sort. Anyway, we have some Linux stuff to build. I would say though that most countries are run highly inefficient, so not only the US or UK, but also Germany, probably others like France, Russia, Brazil, all the others, Turkey, you name it. Too much corruption, inefficiencies, and just look on all. In Germany, we even have, there is some authorities publish a book of waste of taxes there. Whoever published this. So in Germany, we have even books each year, the yearbook of wasted taxes, yeah, it's of course said that means look no further than the German airport that. Wonder if if that, by the way, fun fact, leave me in the comments below, will the German airport open before we have 1 million subscribers or later? Only now on this channel. It's, I mean, the sad thing is that my taxes pay for this bloody airport. That it's hilarious. But zero drop frames so far. Deterred freedom of information request law. I'm pissed off the EU right now with freedom of information request law. Are you? Why is that? All of them are stupid. Big antennas with high power, high ethics on is stupid because your cell phone has very little power to compensation defense, so you can never reach. Yeah, that is exactly what I told them for a couple of years. Thanks for confirming. I think I said this already probably in the original video, but who is listening to me? That is why I need to turn to YouTube to have some people to listen for me. Wi-Fi 4 EU related, they are making right mess and project and no one's getting paid there. These are some of those stuff are. But the problem is, this is why, full disclosure, I voted for none of the stupid full disclosure, I voted for an alternative party that has 2 members in the European Parliament and hopefully is contributing to the only sane voices there in the European Parliament, and I can only recommend you to vote for similar sane people there. The only not so fun fact in this story is that the majority of those people sitting there are idiots. And the really big problem, but now we're getting in politicians and we trigger people, but not to trigger UK people, even in the German politicians, all the failed people, even in the German politics, especially those who failed, they send them to the EU. Why do countries, including Germany, need to send the most failed people, as they need to get rid of them, and because they are too stupid, too incompetent, have too many scandals, and then they send them to the EU to make even more bullshit. I don't know. The concept is good in theory, just that as usual, if you have everything filled with incompetent people, then you get incompetence squared. Something request something. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something as usual when we continue talking about politicians. Stream gets long and we lose subscribers. So before we trigger more people, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. If you want to stay tuned, we probably could try how fast Ryzen could build a minimal build here on catproc CPU info. Which is, yeah, I just checked over also news on the AMD front to end here with some IT news. I just checked before this live stream and I could still not find any AMD Ryzen 3950X listed. And yeah, September the 19th. September is coming to an end. I hope they deliver something eventually because we need more CPU power. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. And if you are for Linux stuff, you can stay tuned for maybe the next, what time is it anyway? Linux build to come.